Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
It doesn't matter if it is a store, a gun show, or online. If you're selling a firearm, you now must have a license. Good evening and thanks for joining us. It's among a list of major changes outlined by a tearful President Obama today. The president's executive actions include requiring the FBI to hire hundreds more people to conduct these background checks 24/7. Hundreds more ATF agents will join the agency to track illegal sales. President Obama says he will streamline reporting mental health information that could exclude you from getting a firearm. And now those receiving Social Security benefits and deemed unable to manage them will be prohibited from purchasing a gun. With such sweeping changes into the gun rights debate, Valley News Team's Bradford Eric explains the mixed feelings over these new measures. Bradford?
Sandy Hook, Aurora, Colorado, and more recently San Bernardino. These are not new conversations, and they bring about mixed feelings. Several people I talked to downtown today said they are all in for expanded background checks, anything to keep us safe, even if it means giving up some of our rights. North Dakota Senator John Hoeven addressed this issue today, saying, quote, "The problem is when President Obama doesn't get what he wants. Instead of working with Congress, he tries to go around Congress. That is not within his authority. He should not be doing it." However, as expected, the National Rifle Association vehemently opposes these new executive actions. The NRA took to the Twitter sphere today, tweeting out, "President Obama's executive orders will do nothing to improve public safety." Regardless of where you stand on the issue, these new executive orders mean if you own a gun, are looking to buy or sell one, or are inheriting any firearms, you'd better pay attention. Stephanie?
All right, Bradford, thank you. The NRA released a statement as well following the president's remarks today, saying people do not need more emotional, condescending lectures that are devoid of facts. We've put a link to the full statement on our website. Go to valleynewslive.com and then click on this story. There you can also find the full outline of the president's executive order. Fargo police are looking into an odd burglary trend after 3 break-ins at businesses where the burglar cut a hole through the building and then got to some safes. The burglars were only able to get away with small amounts of cash and change. Police say 2 occurred over the New Year at Nelson International, and that's a trucking dealership, and the Dakota Boys and Girls Ranch warehouse on 38th Street North. Another happened the day after Christmas at Fargo Freightliner on 36th Street South. Police say it may be the same group after noticing all the holes were cut in a similar fashion. At one truck dealership, the burglar used an employee's cutting torch to get inside a safe. A similar burglary took place last summer at RDO Truck Center on 38th Street South, possibly from the same group. The Associate Superintendent of Fargo Public Schools says he agrees with Fargo North Principal Andy Dolan's decision to not allow a senior photo in the yearbook. All right, here's the picture in question. It shows student Josh Renville in an American flag tank top with a firearm on his shoulder standing next to an American flag. Principal Dolan previously told us that the picture violates school policy and state and federal law. Dolan likened it to a picture of someone smoking a cigarette. He said they would not be able to publish that either. But Renville's father, Charlie, took to social media saying his son loves free speech and the Second Amendment. Renville appealed Dolan's decision, hoping the photo would be allowed. Today, the district says the associate superintendent has also rejected the yearbook photo. If Renville chooses, he can appeal once more, but that is to Fargo Superintendent Jeff Schatz. It's been a mild, quiet winter day out there today. Hopefully it'll stay that way, and hopefully those temperatures won't dip too far down. To find out more on tonight, let's talk with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hutch?
Stephanie, if you're heading outdoors this evening, you've noticed an increase in clouds, and that haze and fog is already starting to set up across the region after a very mild day. As we told you yesterday, the winds have died down, so those mild temperatures are quite enjoyable. The clouds, fog, and a little bit of iciness on area roads are the main concern for your weather tonight. Temperatures in the chilly teens in the Devil's Lake Basin and portions of northeast North Dakota down through the James River Valley. Elsewhere, it's closer to 30 degrees for Fargo, Wahpeton, mid-20s in Lakes Country. Tonight, temperatures slowly fall through the 20s. Wind under 10 miles per hour means pretty enjoyable, but watch out for low visibility set up by areas of fog, and that frost will continue to keep those roads iced up during the overnight. Be a little careful of that. And we're going to update you on the coldest air of the season heading its way toward the valley for the weekend. And as it moves in, it'll bring a chance of snow as well, whether you're traveling down to Frisco or staying close to home. We'll have all the details in Maine Weather.
All right, Hutch, thank you. A St. Paul teen has been sentenced to 3 months of house arrest for an in-school attack that left a teacher hospitalized. The 16-year-old was sentenced to 90 days of house arrest and home monitoring with intensive supervision. The judge said in court the teen had exercised poor judgment. The case sparked widespread concern and the potential for a teacher's strike in the St. Paul public schools. A teacher and assistant principal were injured while trying to break up the fight. Now, prosecutors declined to charge the student as an adult, meaning the case was handled in juvenile court. 5 men in southern Minnesota are in jail accused of trying to solicit teenage girls for sex. And state officials say they used Craigslist to do it. Bruce Keith of Mankato, Caleb Lintz of Fairmount, Jamie Lavold of Richfield, William Rod of St. Louis Park, and Andrew Versteeg of Eagle Lake were all charged with felony counts of soliciting sexual conduct with a child through electronic communication, describing sexual conduct during electronic communication with a child, and providing material related to sexual conduct to a child. A BCA agent working undercover as a 14-year-old girl talked with each of the suspects for several weeks in the casual encounter section on Craigslist. All 5 men arranged to meet with the girl for a sexual encounter. Each was arrested after arriving at the meeting location. A Barnes County man pleaded guilty after he was arrested back in September for property theft charges. Stephen Weber was arrested for theft of property, carrying a concealed firearm, and driving with a suspended license. Weber and his accomplice, Angela Foster, stole 4 portable generators that are worth $1,000 each and a service fuel tank. Foster's trial is still pending. There have been dire predictions about North Dakota's oil industry and its impact on the state and state's budget as the price of oil drops. But the president of North Dakota's Petroleum Council says, hold the phone. Ron Ness says the boom may have slowed, but there's still lots to be excited about. In fact, Ness says the state is producing more than 1 million barrels of oil every day. And he says more wells are coming online each month. Ness, speaking at a Chamber of Commerce sponsored breakfast this morning, says just because the price of oil is down doesn't mean the market for it has gone away, because he says it hasn't. A new state revenue forecast is expected this month. That forecast will give North Dakota's decision makers a look at how many dollars they can expect coming into the state's coffers this year. And the focus of that report will most certainly be on oil dollars. That will likely be one of the determining factors as to whether or not budget cuts will be necessary. Preliminary numbers for the 2015 show for the Fargo Fire Department responded to more than 9,000 calls last year. Most of those calls were not fires, but medical emergencies. The department says preliminary numbers show Fargo firefighters responded to 9,336 calls in 2015. 234 of those were some type of working fire, and more than 5,500 were emergency medical calls. The rest, fire alarms, hazardous materials, or rescue calls. The department says this is almost a 30% increase in the number from 2014. The start of a new year is a chance for new beginnings, and the Better Business Bureau says it's also a time to protect yourself from scams, and you can do so with these resolutions, as the BBB calls them. Now they say get rid of old bank and credit card statements, expired credit cards, and unwanted credit card solicitations. You can do that by shredding them. They also advise be careful when using public Wi-Fi, and don't make any purchases or share personal information while using it. And don't store credit card numbers or other financial information on your smartphone or your tablet. To read the full list, head to valleynewslive.com and click on this story.